Good morning and welcome to Conversations with Buddy. We record these podcasts at the Rec Podcast Recording Studio here in Kaiser, Oregon. We drop a new podcast every Friday morning with a new story that will impact someone. We hope that someone is you. Please take a moment to rate, review, subscribe, and share this podcast episode on your favorite social media platform. We want to get these messages out to the people and impact one person at a time with each of these testimonies. This morning, I'm excited and grateful to introduce my friend and brother, Darryl Goltiao. Darryl, welcome, bro.
Hey, thanks, buddy. Thanks for having me here.
Dude, this is going to be fun, man.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Things that you and I like to do is golf. Mm-hmm. We like travel, family. We have a lot of the same interests, so we have lots of coffee appointments. So.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, let me just do a little quick introduction real quick and tell people who you are. A lot of people know who you are. You're a big leader in the community. Everybody knows you, especially on the golf course. Kinda.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see here. So, Darryl, you are married to a lovely lady named Shannon. Mm-hmm. How many years?
We celebrated 25 last July.
25. What do they call that? Is that the...
Silver. The silver. Yeah.
Dude, you're silver. You're not gold yet, bro.
No, not yet.
Soon.
Yeah.
You got 3 kids.
Yep.
Name them.
Austin and Peyton are twins.
Yeah.
They're 23 and married now. And then Mia Grace, who is 20, and she's going to school down in Southern California at the moment.
How's that feel to marry after boys?
I never thought I'd get there. It was kind of odd at first because I don't feel old enough to be marrying kids off, but it went fast. But typical of the twins, they've always done things very close to each other or at the same time. So to marry them off within months of each other was, it was super fun, but also very stressful all at the same time.
It was a rough year, man.
Yeah. Rough and also a huge blessing. I mean, they met some great gals. You know who they are. They're good friends with your daughters and whatnot. So, yeah.
Well, you guys went through a lot this last year. I know that you guys got married off a couple boys. Mm-hmm. Mia's in college, so you and Shannon are learning how to empty nest.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that because that will be part of it. But
okay,
I'm going to finish my little intro here.
Yeah.
So your parents immigrated from the Philippines in 1970. Mm-hmm. That's I want to hear that story.
Yeah.
And you lived in the Bay Area growing up, so you're definitely a 49er fan. Mm-hmm. You love the Giants.
Yep.
You love the Golden State Warriors.
Oh, yeah.
I get it, man. It's a good group of teams there.
Yeah.
Let's see. You are the oldest of 3 boys, and you told me one time, being the oldest boy in the being a Filipino, what is that name?
It's called Kuya.
Kuya.
They call us Kuya, and if for the oldest, if you were a girl, they called it Ate. Yeah, so there's Kuya and Ate, and it's just a sign of respect for the older sibling.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you told me some stories how they look to you as a respect, and you feel obligated to lead them appropriately.
Yeah, there's a little bit of pressure there,
yeah.
Being the oldest. My dad's also the oldest of his siblings, so he was always a Kuya as well. So, yeah, there's always been that pressure for sure.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
What else? Let's see here. I know you like to travel. You guys are traveling probably more than ever. You guys are always somewhere, Nashville, Southern California. And you went to college in the Southern California.
Yeah.
Which college?
So we went to the Masters University. Yeah. That's where my daughter's at now. It's a small private Christian college down just outside of north of LA County. When I say LA, I don't really like to mention LA because they get a bad rap, but it's way outside of LA. It's probably way closer to like Ventura and all the coastline up there. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful city actually.
That's cool. And I know you love to golf, so you are a member out at Creekside. How long have you been golfing?
Well, I actually didn't start playing golf until we moved up here from California. It was one of those sports that I never really adapted to when I was younger. I played all the traditional sports down in the Bay Area. Never was great at any of the sports. I did it more for a social activity and hanging out with friends because they were doing it.
Yeah.
And then I kind of got put to shame with my previous company. I used to work for Hershey and went to corporate, and they paired me up with the president of the company.
Oh, no.
And I didn't know how to play golf. And after that, I said, I'm going to learn how to play this game. Yep. And then...
Did you ever get to redeem yourself with that president?
Never.
I bet that haunts you today, like, dang it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm talking about it right now, and that was probably, close to 20 years ago.
20 years ago, yeah. Does it make you want to call him and go, hey, you remember that time? I want to redeem myself, man.
Not really. Not really. Yeah.
All right.
I think that was it. So,
right.
yeah.
But I know the way you play golf is you get after it. I mean, you take it pretty seriously. You have fun, but you're also serious about the game, and you play well. That probably, that moment of not knowing how to play golf probably drives you to play a better game today.
Yeah, I get competitive with myself. I love competition. I love sports. I told you about all my sports teams that I love to follow. A lot of it just has to do with competition. Yeah. I love watching the ups and downs of it. I love to see the victories and the defeats. Yeah. Golf became one of those things where it gave me a better picture of how life is, especially in the Christian walk. So it's something that I got my boys kind of involved. You know, my twins play golf as well.
They're good too.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things. You just know that you need to get to a certain hole, and there's sometimes you get there really easy, and sometimes you can be in the trees or the rocks or the water, but it doesn't matter. You still have to get back on track.
Right.
And I just feel that way in just life in general. So
that's a great. Yeah, I think you're right. Golf is a great analogy as we live life. And we get off track, and it doesn't matter where you're at. You still got to get back on track, and there's still a goal to accomplish.
Yeah.
Take us back to, so your parents migrated from the Philippines to the States in the 1970s.
Yep.
What year were you born?
I was born in 1972, so I'm aging myself here.
Yeah. So you might be 50.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so mom and dad moved here.
Yeah.
You grew up in the Bay Area. What sports did you play? And you said you had two younger brothers?
Yep. Okay. Yeah. So my parents got me into baseball first.
Yeah.
Your typical American sport, T-ball, and then you move up and you do Little League and whatnot, growing up in the Bay Area. I was just terrible at it. My first two at-bats, I remember losing the bat, slipping out of my hand, and going into the bleachers where the fans were. That was embarrassing. I still remember that day. I remember being put into the catcher position, and I would literally hug the backstop because I didn't want to be close to the batter. Those were some trying times for me as a kid, just because I had no idea what I was doing, and my parents didn't either. They just relied on the coaches to just teach me. Yeah.
I think sports are such a great lesson. As we develop our kids, as a parent, we can do so much, but then coaches, help our kids grow and work through that fear, because we want to protect our kids, and coaches know, like, you got to go do this. And Darryl, you're the catcher. Go.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm scared.
Yeah.
I know. Okay. And then your brothers, did they also play sports?
Yeah, they did. Both my brothers are actually good athletes as well. I'd probably say typical of multiple siblings, usually the youngest tends to take it on the best, and they get better as they grow up. I think because they get beat up by the older siblings by it. So I'd say my youngest brother, still till this day, is actually still pretty active in basketball and a bunch of other sports. So he's got to stay tough because you guys beat him up. Is that what you're saying? Absolutely.
Do you guys duke it out quite a bit?
Oh, we do. I mean, I still put the older brother, overshadow them with just, I think, from a mental standpoint, but they can beat me on anything now these days. Yeah.
That's funny. That competitiveness, it doesn't die easy.
It does not.
It does not die easy. My brain often says you can do it, and my body says probably not.
No. Yeah. And I learned that this last Thanksgiving, because we typically do a big turkey bowl down in California with all of my cousins. You fly down there, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. And we actually had a sports marathon with our families, our extended families, where we did basketball the night we got there, turkey bowl the next morning, and then a big game of volleyball by that evening after eating turkey. So, yeah.
Wow, you need a recovery from that.
Oh, I probably shouldn't have even played any of those when I was down there.
But you did.
But I did, because my brain said I had to, but my body told me no.
You got to show up, man.
You shouldn't have. Yeah.
Keep showing up, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right, so you live in the Bay Area.
Mm-hmm.
What's the next step for you? You went to college, right? Southern California.
Yeah. So,
master's.
So I was born in San Francisco. So we lived in San Francisco. Like when I say San Francisco, we lived in the city for my first 5 years of my life. And then we moved to South San Francisco, a town called Daly City, in a really foggy, cold town. It was one of those cities because it was so close to the bay that it was always cold and foggy, even in the summer times. I remember my dad used to take us to Candlestick Park. That's where the San Francisco Giants used to play.
For sure.
And it could be middle of July, but you had to bring blankets because it got so cold, just because of the way the cold fog and the moisture from the water there in the bay would come in. So that got a little dreary for us. And then my dad got a job down in San Jose, which was another hour south of San Francisco. Yeah. That was before San Jose became what is now known as Silicon Valley. It was actually a pretty quaint, it was an orchard town, full of orchards. That's all I remember. And then it wasn't shortly till the end of my high school years before I left did Silicon Valley come in. And so you got your IBMs and your Apples that basically took over the city. And today it's one of the largest cities in the world. So yeah, very busy. Very busy.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Graduate from high school, then you're off to college.
Yeah, so I went off to college. Again, it was one of those things that I followed friends. I didn't really know what I was going to do or where I was going to go, but I had friends that went to this small Christian college down in Southern California. So I went and visited it, loved it, and it actually shaped a lot of who I am in my life. I actually met Shannon, my wife, on the first day. So, yeah, so that was a huge gift, just for going there. So I went there. I thought I wanted to get into kind of the TV video industry or movie industry, not necessarily be on the acting side of it, but behind the scenes and do a lot more studio type work, kind of video production. So that's kind of what I focused my major on. And a couple years into it, since we were very, very close to a lot of the big major studios down there, Paramount, Warner Brothers, Disney, just Hollywood was close by. It was half an hour away. The more I put myself in there and seen what the industry was about, the more I said, nah, I don't think this is for me. So I went a different direction, and here I am. I'm in sales now, and have been in sales for a while. So,
and you're good at it too.
Try to be.
Yeah, from chocolate to mattresses.
Yes, yeah,
kinda.
Yeah. Hershey to Tempur-Pedic. So yeah,
the sales business is really. It's not like the slick guy with a short tie and a polyester suit.
No.
It's relationship. Would you agree on what sales is to you?
Absolutely. I would say that a lot of my upbringing, me being a very social guy to begin with, my sales started early. It started with selling, it's funny, I got into the chocolate industry working for Hershey, but I don't know if you remember, but back when you and I were in school, fundraisers, remember those dollar candy bars? Big old block of candy bars came in a box.
Oh, yeah.
I got really, really good at it. I made people buy those from me in by the dozen.
Yeah.
I'd sit in front of a grocery store and just, kind of like what the Girl Scout cookies,
awesome.
Do now.
Yeah.
I was doing that in front of Safeways, so. Yeah, I'd say that's...
Is that middle school or...
That was actually grade school,
believe it or not. So you started in grade school in
I
sales,
started in
man.
grade school in sales and then worked my way up from there. And obviously God had a plan in that. And I didn't know it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
That's cool. What do you think the number one... Just a quick question, side note. What do you think the number one thing is that people like... how do people buy from you? What's the number one quality that you possess? Or any salesperson in general? Because I think it's a general question, but...
Yeah, I'd say the relationship part of it is huge for me. It's funny, I've given you the two brands I've worked for and currently work for. I feel like I'm a brands guy. I've never really pictured myself as that short tie, short sleeve, sales, used car sales type of guy. Nothing wrong with that, but that wasn't me. I always needed a brand to kind of fall on and sell itself.
Yeah.
And then I just kind of did the relationship building. I'm a connector. I love networking and connecting with people.
Yeah.
I would say that as far as one of the biggest thing in sales is just connecting to your audience. And I feel that that's probably one of my strengths is just being able to connect. Whatever, it doesn't matter what demographics they're from. It doesn't matter age group or who they are, what side of the tracks they come from. I feel like I can just connect with different people.
You kind of, in my opinion, you rally the troops. You bring the energy. You're definitely an extrovert.
Yeah.
A guy like me who's more introverted, you can pull me out of my introvertedness and try to be extroverted.
Yeah.
So that's what you do for me personally. I know you do that for a lot of people. I'm pretty certain Simnett is one of those guys.
Yeah. I appreciate that.
No, you bring good energy. You're definitely likable. People want to do business with people they like, for sure. So that's good. All right. So you graduate from master's. And my mind's blank.
Yeah.
Pastor John MacArthur. Thank you. My mind's obviously he's a pastor down there. Still is a pastor. Been there for what, 60 years?
A long time.
60.
I lost count. Yeah, he's been there a very long time.
Just preaching the word, man.
Yeah.
So now I have a lot of respect for that college and that ministry. So.
Yeah, for sure.
So you and Shannon you meet on the first day.
So we meet first day.
Yeah.
I got to be careful of how I tell the story here.
Shannon's listening.
Yep. So we meet the first day, and really we just kind of hit it off. Again, it's one of those things that I told you that I was pretty good. I could basically be friends with a lot of people, and that's how we started. We became friends. She came from here in Oregon, didn't know a soul down there. I already had a good handful of friends down there, and that's basically how our relationship started, and we just kind of hung out. I mean, literally, we hung out for 4 years of being in school, and the serious part of our relation didn't really start till the very, very end of our time at Masters.
Seriously?
Yeah, it wasn't till about.
Did you know you liked her though?
I did like her. We to be honest with you, we became best friends, and it was to that point where by spring semester of our senior year, we had a few months left until graduation. It hit us both. We're like, whoa, what's the next step? Because we're done. We're done with school.
It's like,
where do we go from here? And so
I think I like you and you like me. What do you want to do? Okay.
Yeah. So we did a lot of stuff. We had fun. You mentioned some of the things we're doing now. It brings us back to those days where we just loved adventure and exploring and doing things. I mean, we did a lot of sports. We played tennis. We worked out. We did a lot of things. And then till this day, we still do a lot of those things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
That's cool.
Yep.
Okay. So after college, you guys say, okay, we're going to date.
Yeah.
When did marriage come in?
So by the time we started dating, because we had such a long history of just knowing each other and becoming such good friends, that's when we ended up, dating became really quick. So we graduated in 96, and then literally a year after graduation, we got married. Yeah, so 97.
It's like, I like you, you like me, I know you, and let's get married. Let's do this thing.
So it went, for me, it was quick. I just feel like, graduation, and then a year later, here we are, we're married. And then from that point on, the next step, before our second year anniversary, we had 2 kids. So
you guys had twins. You guys were blessed with twins.
So we were blessed with twins.
2 kids.
Yeah,
all right, here we go.
Nothing we would have even imagined or dreamt of. By the time we found out we were having twins, we kind of just looked at each other and going, should we be jumping for joy or crying or what? Emotions were all over the place. Yeah. It was
fun.
a freak out mode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a side note. So I met Sean like my first day in college.
Yeah, that's right.
And we didn't start dating till the end of that year because I already had a boyfriend.
Oh, okay.
And so I was this shy kid. I'd go in the video store where she worked, and I didn't even know what to say. Anyway, it took about till the last weekend that it's like, I actually like you, you like me, and so we began dating. But And then after college, hey, college is over. Let's get married. So similar story. So that's kind of funny. I can relate to that.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys get married, have kids within that. You said the next year.
Yeah, pretty much after our first year. I mean, that was, and I was just working I wasn't in a career yet. Let's just say that. I wasn't making a whole lot. We were barely scraping by living in Southern California. You know how expensive it is down there. Shannon was teaching. That's where she got her degree. She was a teacher. We both actually worked for the school that she was teaching at. It was a private school down in Southern California. And we just knew that what I was doing at the time, as much as I loved it, wasn't going to help provide for a family of 4 down there. So I got really serious and started kind of really looking for, okay, God, what do you have for me? And that's when a good friend of my college roommate that I met was working for Hershey at the time. And that's really how I got my foot in the door was through this guy. And, applied, threw my resume out there, went through the whole interview process. And in that process, that's when we found out we were having twins. But we were still living in Southern California. Our goal was to get up here to Oregon. Shannon's got 2 older brothers that you know.
I don't know them, actually. What's their names?
Yeah. And they were in the same boat. They were having kids all about at the same time. And we just thought, you know what? It'd be really fun to be close to them and have their kids and our kids kind of grow up near each other. That's how I grew up. I grew up with a lot of cousins around me. So it was something that we kind of desired to do. But God had a different path for us. He didn't take us to Oregon right away. So I got hired with Hershey at that time. And it was kind of a very scary moment for us. It was things, obviously God's hand was in this the whole time. It was really neat to watch because Shannon actually was put on bed rest. Her pregnancy was really difficult with the twins. She actually lived in the hospital for quite some time. And she was about an hour away from where we actually lived in Southern Cal. And that was the process where I was getting interviewed. And things were getting really, really close and promising to working for Hershey. And finally, they offered me a position, but it wasn't going to be in Oregon. And they gave me two places. Either it was Santa Rosa, California, which was an hour north of San Francisco, so I was a little familiar with the area, or Reno, Nevada. And we said, not Reno. Reno just wasn't in the cards for us. So I remember visiting Shannon in the hospital, opening up. Back then we had maps, right? Yeah. I remember opening up a map and she's going, where's this place at? And we drew and highlighted Santa Rosa, California. We didn't really know anybody there. We knew of a couple, which is best friends of ours today, John and Bria White. They lived up there, and that's really all the people we knew when we moved up there. But the timing was pretty, I say scary because we didn't know when I was going to have to move, start my job, but yet Shannon's still in the hospital with these boys, and we didn't know when they were going to be born. There was a lot of difficult issues that they were going through with the pregnancy. But as soon as they were born, I got an offer. They told me I had to be in Chicago for new hire, but yet our boys were still in the hospital. They were in the NICU, in the NICU. And I'm going, man, Lord, what are you doing here? I'm like, this is crazy. Like, I've got 2 kids now that I got to go help take care of, and now you're sending me off away from them. I mean, just the timing was crazy. And at that time, Shannon, I left actually, so we finally got both boys home after about a month, and then I had to leave for new hire to Chicago. But I was leaving when I was leaving our apartment in Southern California. I wasn't coming back to that apartment after I got back from new hire because we had gotten a new apartment up in Santa Rosa, and that Santa Rosa was about 6 hours north from where we were living. So Shannon actually had to move us, which was nuts. She's got these brand new newborn, they were preemies, that she was having to haul with her, move our stuff, and then get us up to Santa Rosa while I was getting trained in Chicago. Yeah.
I bet you that's a tender subject. Even today's like, Darryl, what were you doing?
Yeah.
Obviously God took you through that period of time, and you guys survived.
Yep.
That's part of the story.
Yeah.
Certainly not easy on Shannon. I can only imagine having 2 kids, preemies, a new mom.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
For sure.
How long were you gone on your training? So like a week
That
long?
was almost 2 weeks long, believe it or
my
not.
gosh.
Yeah. So I was gone for 2 weeks. We're very blessed. Her mom came down, helped her out, helped her with the babies, helped her actually move. So that was just an amazing time.
Yeah.
It was scary times, and like you said, we survived. But we do look back now and going and just watched God's hand through the whole process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that fun to look back and see God's hand? At the time, you don't see it. You're like, what are we doing?
Mm-hmm.
But God's hand's always there.
Yeah.
And that's so cool. Obviously, as Christians, we see that, but yet we still doubt sometimes. Why is that? You know? Okay, so you guys have been married for 25 years. The question I want to ask you is, what is the secret to your marriage to make it last for 25 years? And I know, I like to say your marriage is perfect, but I don't think it probably is. Mine's not. What are the challenges you guys have overcome? Obviously, twins and moving, and talk about those real quick. And then, how have you guys navigated through the challenge of marriage? Because you have a guy, you have a girl or lady, and you have different backgrounds.
Yeah.
That's interesting to me.
Yeah.
It's always, I'm interested.
Yeah. So the secret is God.
Really?
That's
That's interesting.
That's it. I mean, we're both 2 sinners put together, right? And you got 2 faulty people with very selfish and pride that gets in the way. But honestly, lots of prayer. Both my parents are still together. They've been married for 50 plus years. Both her parents are still together, also been married for 50 plus years. I know from both sets of parents, they both prayed for us since when we were little. I'm a huge believer in prayer. My grandparents prayed over us all the time when they were alive. And till this day, I know both my parents and my in-laws still do the same. So I'd say prayer is a huge thing. From people that are praying for you, but as well as praying for each other.
Yeah.
Apart from that, I don't know. I don't know where I'd be, honestly. I mean, I look at just the steps I've had to take to, going through high school and college and then getting married and then having these kids, earlier than what we wanted and blah, blah, blah. But it's pretty amazing just to see God at work. I mean, we're very blessed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. Obviously it is God. We know that, but prayer, and for me personally, I wasn't living for the Lord in my early 20s. I just wasn't. I was like 28 before I came to the Lord. But looking back, my grandma, my dad's mom, she had 14 kids, big family, and she raised those kids on her own because her husband, my grandpa, died when my dad was probably, I don't know, early teens.
Wow.
But later in life, as I became a believer, when I learned about my grandma, I said, Grandma, hey, how often do you read your Bible? And what's it look like? She goes, well, I read in the morning, I read at noon, I read at night.
Wow.
And she would pray. And she was a lady with few words, but I know she was always praying. And her prayers is what saved me.
Yeah.
And so when you say prayer, I think we often don't give prayer the due respect that we get to talk to the Creator.
Yeah.
And what a cool thing.
Yeah. And I think people that talk to the Creator on our behalf, like I said, I can name a bunch of people that you wouldn't know that had been praying for me. I call them my prayer warriors. I have an uncle, my dad, my father-in-law, my youth pastor at the time, back in high school, my best friend, still till this day that I talk to multiple times a week. Just a lot of people that pray for me from a personal level, but also praying for our marriage and praying for our kids. That's the other thing, is raising kids. People are like, oh, how did you do this? I'm like, I don't have the secret formula. All I know is God's protection over us and people praying is the big thing. So,
and what's interesting about your family, I mean, the whole Green family, the Goltiao family. There's 9 cousins that you have your kids.
Yeah.
I think it's beautiful, and that you guys are all married still. Your parents are still married. They're still married. You're still married. And I'm not talking for a couple of years. I'm talking decades, 25 to 50 plus years.
Yeah.
So it's highly unusual.
Yeah, it is.
So there's no coincidence that God is a part of that and prayer is a part of that.
Absolutely.
Because on our own, we're a mess.
No, we're a mess.
It's bad.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know where I'd probably be in jail. How about you?
And it's every day. It's every day. I mean, I need it every day, right? I mean, there's that song, Lord, I Need You, and it's like moment by moment, right? Yeah, because...
Yeah, we don't arrive at righteousness. We wake up every day going, I want to fulfill my own destiny and my own flesh. And that's a train wreck.
Yeah, for sure.
Huh. Well, let's talk about some fun stuff.
Yeah, okay.
So, that was heavy.
Yeah.
Raising kids and being married for a couple decades.
Careers and whatnot. Yeah.
Okay, so golf. Travel the next 5 years for Darryl Goltiao and Shannon. How many times a week do you golf? When you're on vacation, are you golfing? Does Shannon like to golf? How do you guys do things together?
So I got to be careful on telling you how much I golf because my boss could listen to this one day, right? No,
probably once a month or so.
Yeah. Once a year.
Once a year.
I do golf a lot. I don't do 18 holes like what people think of golf to be. Yeah. You and I have golfed multiple times. We do the quick 9 holes.
I like the 9.
Yeah, the 9 holes. Get in there, get out. It's a good escape for me mentally. I love being out in the landscape of golf. Obviously, it's more manicured than going on a hike, but I just love the beauty of just the landscaping of golf. But Shannon doesn't golf. We're going to start getting her lessons here this summer because I know it's something that she wants to start doing with me. But she supports it big time. She's one of probably my biggest supporter when it comes to golf. She pushes me to actually go and enjoy it. She knows it's a good escape for me. She knows I'm better for her because of it. Really? Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That mental clarity.
The mental clarity. You get in a better mood, when you come home.
Are you grouchy when you come home from work?
Sometimes, yeah.
I've never seen you grouchy, but that'd be weird.
Oh, I get grouchy, believe me. And then, of course, our boys played in high school. It was one of the sports that we got them into, and they actually excelled in it much quicker than I did. So she loved watching them play as well. So that's why she loves it. She even likes watching it. We're actually on to the Netflix documentary that's going on right now.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's see, we got into paddle boards a couple years ago, pretty much during COVID. Yeah. Shannon loves the water. She grew up on the water down in Roseburg, grew up on the river. So being close to water, in the water is a good escape for her. So we both got into that, and we continue to do so. We're kind of exploring the idea of getting like a little trailer and doing some road trips because we can. Yeah. And then really any sports activity. We this winter, her and I have been up to the mountain a handful of times already. She's a skier. I'm a snowboarder. That's something that we just decided, hey, let's just keep doing this. Yeah. As long as our body lets us. So totally. Yeah, because it does hurt when you get back off the mountain. So yeah. I know. So
but it's a worthwhile pain to be up on the mountain, just the joy of skiing, and it's awesome.
And it's one of those things, and this will sound prideful, but our kids in sports, they got better at us, especially us as we got older, and then they started excelling in the different sports all three of them got into. Once they got into their teen years, they just got better at whatever sport they were involved in. And me being competitive, I'm always like, no, you're not going to beat me in this or that or whatever thing we were doing.
Come on.
But the one thing that her and I still can say we're better at them at is when we're on the mountain.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. We're still faster. We like to go to the steeper runs and things like that. So
it's funny you say that. So me and my cousin grew up in Prineville. Yeah. And we would skip school and go to skiing at Bachelor. That's what we did. It's how fast we can go down and how fast we can go up and how fast we can go down. Yeah. And then so we now connect together at Hoodoo. Yeah. Our kids. and me and Kobe. And we're like, it's as fast as you can go. And they're like, what are you guys doing? Slow down. Like, we only know one speed, so
that's it.
We can
it's
relate.
Fast.
Yeah, it's fast.
Yeah.
If you crash, awesome. That means you're doing something.
Yeah. So. And you crash fast.
Oh, you crash fast. You get up and do it again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. So we're exploring that. We're just up for adventure. You know, God allows us to travel right now, which is really fun because we have nothing at home. I mean, we have a dog that needs to get taken care of from time to time, but it's not like when you had kids younger and you had to find somebody to watch them, and either was way expensive or nobody could do it. And now that we're just kind of like, oh, we got the time to do it. Let's do this on the weekend. Let's go on a hike on the coast, or let's go travel to this place where we've never been to. Things like that. So
that's so cool.
Yeah, really fun.
You guys are living out this empty nesting life pretty well.
Yeah.
I see all your Facebook photos and stuff, and I think it's real. I mean, I think sometimes, like, you question, hey, is that real? No, I think it's real. I think you guys are really having fun.
Yeah.
You guys are a testimony to a long marriage, a good marriage, time together. What's your wife's love language? Have you figured it out after 25 years?
It's words. It's definitely encouraging words.
Words of affirmation.
Words of affirmation is a big one for her. And I'm not the best at it.
Come on, Darryl. I'm going to be calling you every week. What'd you do? What'd you say?
Yeah. And ironically, I was a communications, major going into the field of video, but I didn't really learn how to communicate all that well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude,
I still work at it.
We communicate with grunts and moans.
Yeah.
We don't, what's the saying is like, women speak 5 or 10,000 words and we speak like a quarter of what they speak.
Yeah.
And, that's funny.
Yeah, it is.
We think we're showing, saying certain things or having certain emotions, but we simply don't.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, hey, we'll wrap up here in just a few moments, but, the next 5 to 10 years, just more travel, more golf, more having fun.
More travel. Like. I mean, we've married 2 of the 3 off. We'll see where this last one will be at. Yeah. And it really just kind of depends on where all 3 of them land, and we want to be there and still be involved in their lives as much as they'll let us.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, we just want to continue to just enjoy as we're healthy, right? To be able to just kind of explore. There's so many places in this country. I mean, we were just talking about this last night. Like, I've never been to Glacier, which is in Montana, and everybody I've talked to, I mean, I was talking to somebody yesterday. I had coffee with somebody yesterday, and they were showing me pictures of their trip to Glacier last summer. And then I talked to somebody else, and it's the same thing. So, that's kind of one of our bucket lists to do this summer. We're actually traveling in May. Never been overseas to Europe, so we're going to do that. We're going to celebrate our 25th this coming May. We didn't get to last year.
And you're going to Europe.
We're going to Europe. Never been.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. What countries?
So we're going to go to London, Paris, and Italy. So a couple cities in Italy.
Like how many days?
It's going to be like 2 weeks, I believe.
Can you actually add an extra week?
We would love to,
but
so we're excited about that. That's a part of the world that we've never really explored. There's other countries. I'd love to visit the Philippines.
Yes.
I've been there once when I was little.
Okay.
I mean, 5 years old, I believe I was. So that's a country I'd like to visit just because there's history and heritage there.
Maybe put that on the bucket list for 2024.
There you go. Yeah.
I mean, because if you just schedule it, I mean, it can be a year out.
Oh, absolutely.
You'll plan for it. You look forward to it. It's like creating vision,
Exactly.
Word says, without vision, the people perish. And I think sometimes having fun things planned out is really healthy.
Yeah.
You get to look forward to something.
It is. And it's something we both like to do. The planning, looking forward to it, what's coming up, where should we go type of thing. And sometimes it's not even those far away places. Right. Sometimes there's certain parts of Oregon that we've never been to, so that'd be fun to explore too. So
I remember like 2018, Sean and I decided we would drive around the perimeter of Oregon. I mean, I've lived in Oregon my whole life.
Yeah.
I've never driven around the perimeter.
Yeah.
So for 6 days, we drove the perimeter.
Whoa, 6 days.
Yeah, we went down to Keys Bay because that's where our family lives.
Yeah.
And then we went down to, I don't know where we went, but literally all the way around the perimeter.
Yeah.
It was one of the funnest trips we've ever taken.
Wow. Yeah. So, yeah, that's fun.
We'll wrap up here, but what's a word of wisdom you want to leave the world with? What's something maybe we didn't talk about that somebody needs to hear?
One thing I'm really focusing on this year for myself, and I don't know if this is the words of wisdom you're looking at, but I figure I might as well share what God's helping me do, is a word I chose for this year is actually the word blessed. Every year our family sits down around the table beginning of the year and we say, okay, what's your word for the year? And that's the word I chose. And I chose that because last year I feel like I didn't really count my blessings. I did a little bit more complaining and whining, and which I'm really good at. And one thing that I was convicted of is, wait a minute, look at this, Darryl. You live here in Salem, Oregon, which is not a bad place. Yeah. I've got a roof over my head. I get to golf, like you mentioned. I get to hang out with friends like you. We get to travel. I have 2 kids that are married. I've got a daughter that's in college. I mean, I can go on and make this long list, but I forget. I like to make a long list of my complaints, but I don't make a list of what has God done for you outside of sending his son to die for us and then be buried and then raise again and save me. And then the mercies he shows us every morning. Every morning his mercies are new. And that's the one thing that I felt like I just kind of put on the shelf last year. And then this year I had to kind of really just change my perspective. And that's really what it is just going, all right, in anything you can find blessings. I've got cousins in the Philippines who don't have anything, but yet they count their blessings of the little that they have. So that's probably my thing, is count your blessings, because there's something every day. Every day we wake up, that's a blessing.
Amen.
Right. And then from there, it's just kind of looking at what else has God blessed you with. So,
well, I think that's a great way to finish this. Is perspective. You use the word perspective.
Yeah.
Having perspective, and because if you have the wrong perspective, you will not count your blessings. You will not be grateful. But if you really realize all that you've been blessed with, and I like that it was conviction. Like, hey, Darryl, I didn't notice you had a bad attitude last year. You obviously were convicted by it, and trust me, I get convicted too. Like, I think I like that word, man.
Yeah,
blessed.
Yeah,
blessed is the word. My word is intentional. Be right here.
Yeah,
at this moment. There's nothing else. I don't have yesterday because that's gone. Tomorrow hasn't arrived yet.
Yeah,
and really, what's most important is what's right in front of me, and I struggle with that.
Yeah,
because I'm thinking about. I'm looking at you, but maybe I'm thinking 12 different things. Like, but being intentional. I like that word.
That's
blessed.
a great word. Yeah.
So I never done that with my family where, because every year since my girls were like 4 and 6, every January 1, we'd sit down and do our goals together.
Yeah.
And the one thing we do every January is we do our goals, and sometimes together. Now they're obviously moved out and one of them's married. But they go, hey, you doing your goals?
Yeah.
That's like, hey, are we going to do the goals?
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's one thing we do, but I think I'm going to add
that's awesome.
The word of the year. Like, hey, what's your word? Because I do that in business circles.
Yeah.
But I have not done that with my family. And I think that's actually really wise.
Yeah.
So that's my takeaway from you, man, is
I appreciate that.
Money.
Yeah.
So, well, brother.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you. You're a good friend.
Thank
brother
you.
in the Lord. Golfing friend.
Yeah.
Apparently you're a good bowler too. We're learning.
Well, no, I get lucky.
Hey,
I get lucky.
This guy got a turkey, man. He shot a 175. I think that's way above average for what do you bowl once a year?
Maybe once every 5 years.
He shoots a 175, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, hey, appreciate you, man.
I appreciate it.
Thanks for being a part of this podcast today. We appreciate you listening each week, and we do want to impact people. And so please, we're begging you to share this with people, to comment, give us a review, rate us, and if you want to be a guest, please contact us. I'd love to have you. So have a great week. We'll see you next week. Thanks so much.